Having thoroughly covered every aspect of Plovdiv, Kevin and I moved on to Sofia, Bulgaria's capital and famous for its brutalist architecture. But what is brutalist architecture and what does it represent? Hi there, we're in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. And in Greek, I believe, Sofia meant beauty, which is quite ironic because here in Bulgaria, Sofia is anything but. Behind us we have a prime example of brutalist architecture. It's called brutalist because it encompasses everything about brutalism. The brutal corners, the brutal sides, the brutal metal, the brutal graffiti, the brutal feng shui. Yes, it's everything about it is brutal, which is a style much cherished by the Bulgarians, I suppose, in the 70s. A quick search on Wikipedia showed that A, Sofia means wisdom, not beauty, and B, while this monument was certainly shitty, it wasn't strictly brutalism, and so we wandered around the corner and had another shot at the video. Behind us, we have a prime example of brutalist architecture. You might notice it's got very brutal corners, it's got a brutal opening, it's in a brutal square, it's got brutal edges, it's got a brutality to it, and
it's big.
It's just big and it makes you feel small, which is something that the politicians have always tried to do to the Bulgarians. But of course, due to the protests that we've seen all over the country, the Bulgarians are sick of being made to feel small and they're making their voices heard.
They've had enough.
They've had enough and they are fighting. They want change. And we're not talking about like when a homeless man comes up to you and asks for change. They want real change that lasts. Not just a bit change that's going to, get them another bottle of liquor or something like that.
They're tired of being shortchanged by a government that won't change.
Exactly. And actually, speaking of change, we have been asked for change quite a few times. That was kind of our impression of Sofia walking around last night. A lot of homeless people asking for change. The change for...
We thought they were protesters and we said, we agree with you, we want change.
They didn't really go down very well.
They looked angry at us, but oh well.
What are the other issues that we've had in Sofia? Well, let's just talk about the history a bit. This is the centre of Bulgaria. It never really was the capital until about 200 years ago. It's a capital that's sort of... they just try to make it look like a European capital about 150 years ago when they first got independence from the Ottoman Empire. So they tried to do things the European way. Never really worked out in the end. Just when things started going well for them, they started to join the Nazis and America bombed them. Apparently the Bulgarians... according to the walking tour we did yesterday, they said that they didn't mind really launching war on America because they were confident that the Americans didn't even know that Bulgaria existed or where they were. Turned out America just had to look at Google Maps and they bombed this city into smithereens.
Yeah.
But that's fine, that's all in the past now, and the Bulgarian people are trying to change the government. Now, what do you think Australia can learn from Bulgaria and Sofia?
That you can build brutalist architecture, but people won't like it.
Yep. Which is pretty much what happened in Federation Square in Melbourne. That was to celebrate Federation, 100 years of Federation, which they missed by 1 year anyway. So Melbourne's already on track with the brutalist architecture movement. And I think all over Australia you've got examples of buildings that are designed to make you feel small and weak. Yeah. Well, what would you give Sofia out of 5, Kev?
Give it a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5? That's more than half. I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Needs improvement, but you'll get there, Bulgaria. You'll get change.
Way, oh, way,